Delhi pollution, and it seems like the Supreme Court has stepped in. Delhi pollution has left us sick and exposed, also frankly embarrassed. When football legend Lionel Messi visited the capital, crowds not just chanted his name, but also took that opportune moment to criticize Delhi's air quality. When Chief Minister Rekha Gupta took to the stage, you had Delhi crowds chanting AQI. Imagine the embarrassment. I'll take you through exactly what happened. Well, imagine Delhi citizens there decided to embarrass the Chief Minister on that stage. And now you have the Supreme Court stepping in, losing patience. The Supreme Court wraps the centre, asking why interim short-term measures only adopted to tackle pollution and why not long-term measures. The top court came down heavily on both the centre and the state, calling the handling of Delhi NCR's air pollution as a total failure. The message was blunt and, in fact, multiple suggestions also given at the same time. The Supreme Court bench led by Chief Justice of India, Surya Kant, made it clear that this crisis cannot be solved through knee-jerk, short-term fixes. It needs sustained long-term thinking, not seasonal damage control. The court was hearing petitions as Delhi's air quality slipped deeper into hazardous zone, triggering emergency measures yet again. One key direction that the Supreme Court has suggested for the Municipal Corporation of Delhi to adopt within a week's time is to see whether the 9 toll plazas that it runs at Delhi's entry points can be temporarily suspended. The court noted that these toll booths cause hours of traffic jams, and vehicular emission itself is known to be 40% of the reason to why pollution levels are increasing in Delhi. Directly coming from vehicular emissions, the Supreme Court said, think about suspending these 9 toll booths or toll plazas for a few months at least until pollution is tackled. The National Highways Authority of India has also has asked to explore shifting of these toll plazas to locations that it can manage. The court even suggested that part of the toll revenue could be diverted to compensate civic bodies during the proposed 3-month suspension. Importantly, the bench called out cosmetic situations and solutions adopted, saying school closures, online classes, hybrid model, all of this are just stopgap. The court said that these only shield the children and the elderly only for temporary situations. In fact, the court says the children and the elderly are shielded temporarily, but this is not really a long-term fix. At best, they're like extending winter vacations. Meanwhile, on ground, emergency curbs are tightening. We hear the Delhi government has now decided to impose GRAP stage 3 and 4. Only BS6 compliant vehicles will now be allowed into Delhi starting tomorrow. That's 18th of December. In fact, we hear the Delhi government has decided strictly now not to allow any vehicles that are below BS6 compliant. Potentially, nearly 12 lakh vehicles will be off roads in Delhi. From 18th of December, non-Delhi BS3 and BS4 vehicles will be barred entirely. So if your vehicle is registered in Delhi, then you may be exempted. But if your vehicle is registered outside Delhi, then anything below BS6 is not allowed. Now, even PUC certificates, pollution certificate is mandatory. No valid PUC, you will not even be given fuel. And you have cameras, the ANPR cameras at these petrol bunks and signals also that will catch if your vehicle is does not have a valid pollution certificate, and you could be pulled up, fined. Even petrol bunks will not give you petrol if you're found not compliant. Cleaner fuel, be it CNG, LNG, electric, and BS6 vehicles, all of these vehicles have a green signal, even if they are commercial vehicles. So these are some hard measures that the Delhi government has taken. I'm going to take you through Manjinder Singh Sirsa, who's a Minister of Environment, who's basically spoken imposing these rules that begin tomorrow.
भारत स्टेज 6 की जो गाड़ियां हैं, जो भारत स्टेज 6 की कंप्लायंस करती हैं, केवल जब तक हमारा ग्रैप लगा वही गाड़ियां दिल्ली में आ पाएंगी. जो पोल्यूटिंग व्हीकल्स हैं वो दिल्ली में अलाउड नहीं होंगे, दिल्ली से बाहर के व्हीकल. सो मैं फिर से कह दूं, दिल्ली से बाहर से आने वाली गाड़ियां, पोल्यूटिंग गाड़ियों को दिल्ली में एंट्री नहीं मिलेगी। आपको मिनिमम भारत स्टेज 6 कंप्लाइंट व्हीकल ही दिल्ली में लाने होंगे जब तक हमारा ग्रैप लगा हुआ है।
All right, let me quickly bring in Dr. Anil Gupta, spokesperson of the BJP, Bhavreen Kandhari, environmental activist, and also Vinkesh Gulati, Vice President, Automotive Skills Development Council and former President, FADA. Thanks very much, all of you, for joining us. If I could start with Vinkesh Gulati, your take on this, BS6 compliant vehicles only allowed. So where does this leave all the taxi drivers, people, vehicles also that ply from outside Delhi NCR region into Delhi for work and whatnot? We are not too sure how long this rule will be implemented or will remain in place. But for now, at least 12 lakh vehicles will be affected. From tomorrow itself, they will not be allowed into Delhi. They'll be imposed a fine. Would you clarify and detail for us exactly what the rule says? Vinkesh? Vinkesh, can you hear me? All right, it seems like there's a connection error there. Let me bring in Dr. Anil Gupta then. Dr. Anil Gupta, why don't you give us a little more on the Delhi government's ruling here on the BS6 compliant vehicles only now allowed? Where does this leave out-of-state travelers, people coming in on a on a daily basis to work in Delhi with cars that are BS4 or BS5 compliant, not BS6?
Yeah, good evening to you and all the viewers. We have been regularly debating about the air pollution in Delhi. And now, when the government takes some measures, we start debating about the livelihood of some persons. Delhi government is already compensating uh, to the construction workers by depositing 10,000 rupees in their account. And because of a study which says that particular matter 2.5, the major source is the vehicular pollution. Vehicular pollution is the major source of PM 2.5. Some strict measures need to be taken. And Delhi government has taken these measures and they will be implemented tomorrow. Practically, government is not have the intention of giving hardship to anybody, but keeping in view the no wind condition in Delhi and the severe air quality, these measures are taken. Already, Honorable Supreme Court has ruled today, and Honorable Supreme Court has mentioned what we have been telling, that it will take a few years to clean up the mess. We are hardly 10 months old in Delhi, and we have taken some measures for particular matter PM10. Already for dust mitigation, so many measures are taken. We are removing all this dust. And for PM 2.5, which is presently the major source, all these measures are taken and long-term policy will be done. Already Delhi government has formed a expert committee which will submit all the details and expert reports in 2 months. For long-term measures, we will abide that. And these are the temporary measures, but for emergency situation, the government is taking these measures. Yeah.
Okay. Ma'am, would you want to comment on this? Bhavreen Kandhari, do you believe that this BS6 compliant vehicles only allowed into Delhi will make a huge difference?
Yes, of course. I mean, everything adds up. I don't know huge or not, but yes, it's a good bold step. But we have to understand that any kind of temporary bans, it could be vehicles or construction, demolition. They only respond to emergencies, and not the root causes. So that is something that the decisions further to this should be for the whole year, because we are in an emergency and we should not think that okay, it's a matter of 2 weeks and 3 weeks or 2 months now, and then when we don't see the smog, everything is over. We are still living in a very very polluted toxic air. So that means you have to bring in the real systemic changes, systemic action, a policy, a strong policy, bold policy. You cannot, I do agree, you cannot deny development, etc., but you have to slow it down. You cannot make mistakes that those mistakes that have been done for the last 10 years when you started constructing the 7 GPRA, or you brought in some false or incorrect policies on vehicles as well. Now you could be introducing congestion taxes, emission taxes. You could be bringing in low emission zones. Those are the kind of decisions. So that, and simultaneously, you cannot do this because your citizens, you have to simultaneously give them a very good public transport. And for public transport, you need valid spaces, which are at present everything is encroached. The whole of Delhi, which I always say, is become a parking lot now. So all that misgovernance and the laxity will have to be taken on a war footing, and then things will start showing up now on and what I do agree with Dr. Gupta, and also with the minister, when he's saying that yes, these changes are not going to show results overnight. It's not, and it should not. It takes months and a couple of years for this to reflect. But when we do those optics, which people also probably like to see, sprinklers and smoke towers, and now some purifiers in the parks, etc. Those kind of things, they're just going to waste a lot of time again, lot of
Much of the
public
pollution
money.
comes from vehicular emission. Could you elaborate for us? We know 40% of it comes from vehicular emission, and vehicles that control pollution or don't pollute as much, if they're allowed and the rest are moved out, do you think that will bring down pollution drastically by 40%? Is that going to have a direct impact?
You're asking me?
I was still speaking with Ms. Bhavreen, but you can also
Oh,
come
so
in.
sorry. I didn't realize. I'm so sorry. Yes, see, the clean fuel will definitely help. Whether it's a cleaner fuel, or when transforming all your public transport into electric. These are the kind of decisions which will, yes, maybe more than 40% also. So, but reducing the private vehicles is going to be the key, and that is going to be only on the basis of like all these various things that I said just now, that
Okay.
you'll have to curb, make it difficult, at the same time provide citizens the options of very good public transport. I mean, when we were growing up in the younger years, we saw these chartered buses, which were fantastic buses, with all the facilities, and the whole office used to go in one bus, from one area. No, we don't see all that anymore. Everybody has an individual vehicles. You'll have to bring these are
Okay, but
business
now
decisions.
we've come too far along from there. Roads are being made for cars to ply on. So
Yeah,
vehicles are there. No matter how much we urge people to use public transport, unless our public transport is robust enough, which our
absolutely.
BJP spokesperson can tell us how far are we going to ensure more accessible public transport. And Delhi, in fact, has always had good public transport for that matter. The fact is it's overcrowded. People are using public transport.
No, we are very short
But we
on the
can't
buses.
ignore the fact that Delhi is just also overpopulated. So where can you really trim corners? It's very difficult to really put a finger on that. But a quick one from Akhil Ghai. I haven't introduced you earlier. I apologize for that. Akhil Ghai, who's an automobile expert. Akhil, why don't you tell us on BS4, BS5 compliant vehicles now being banned, only BS6 being allowed? Do you believe that will significantly reduce pollution? And also describe for us and our viewers, what is BS6 compliant?
First of all, thank you, Nabila, for having me here in your show, and a very good evening to everyone. So, I personally feel that only stopping the B4 vehicles will not curb the pollution. And I think more of the efforts, like, because there is a lot of construction also going on. So me being from the automobile industry, I would definitely say that it is not just automobiles, it is also the construction, and uh, these illegal vehicles which are coming in Delhi, which are entering in Delhi. So that is also a very significant problem.
BS6 compliant. What exactly are the norms for BS6?
So see, BS6 is uh, it's an emission norm, as simple as that. So when we talk about these emission norms, there has to be some. There are certain parameters which are taken care when we manufacture the vehicle. So when we talk about internal combustion engine, uh, just a minute.
As old or new should a BS6 be?
Can you give me a second? My screen is
Yeah. No
completely out.
worries. You take your time. I'll bring in the BJP spokesperson in the meanwhile. Sir, I know that there are harsh steps being taken, Anil Gupta, but at the same time, the Supreme Court today wrapping the state and the center must have left you embarrassed. You have the center also, the BJP governing the state now, the BJP. So some stricter measures should have been taken, is what the Supreme Court says. Why only stopgap? How far can you make work from home for offices and online classes for children? That's just a prolonged winter vacation, and that can't happen every time. Harsh decision, or rather a strong decision must be taken for the long term. So has it not come as an embarrassment for the government today, for the double engine
We,
sarkar?
we respect the judgment given by the Honorable Court and we will abide by that. It isn't an embarrassment, but it is, what we have been telling in the last 1 or 2 months. I think that validate our stand that pollution is not a one day. Cleaning the pollution is not a one day job. We always mentioned it will take few years. We have taken some measures for dust mitigation. Now we are coming hard on the vehicular pollution. We have always been mentioning that long-term solutions, long-term steps are needed. Already, an expert committee of the renowned professors of IITs, from science departments, from medical science have been constituted. And even I request Madam Bhavrinji to at least write to that expert committee so that long-term solution can be. And it is not an embarrassment, but it is a welcome. And yesterday only, Delhi government took some harsh step. I personally call it harsh because some step definitely gives inconvenience to some of the citizens. But
When
as
will we
compared to
see? When will Delhi see some measurable year-round solution? Anything that we'll see any
I,
soon? Because Manjinder Singh Sirsa also said pollution is not going to reduce anytime soon.
Yeah, I
It's
mentioned I mentioned in the previous debate also that it will take at least 2 3 years. If you allow me, I give step by step. We are working very hard on the dust mitigation. Now we are coming on the vehicular pollution also. It is a known fact that for particulate matter PM10, dust is the major source. For PM 2.5 and less than that, vehicular is one of the major source. Now we are working on this and the removal of the toll and the road traffic jam and all these things. We inherited all these things. It must be admitted Delhi population density is highest in the country. Rough estimate, Delhi has a land area of roughly 2,400 to 2,500 square kilometer with a population of more than 3 crores. One of the two districts of Delhi are the highest populous district in the country. And they are the issues. We still have not come into analyze the home pollution. That is also a source. And second, the natural things. For last 2 3 days, the wind was, negligible. It was 0 to 2 or 5. So dispersion was not there. So that, but we cannot blame the nature. But we have to find out our own sources.
yeah.
It is a truth that from February to August, Delhi got good air, but from October it started in a bad shape. Then November and this thing. But still, if you compare the AQI of this year with the previous 10 years, it is roughly 50 to 60 points better. I don't claim it is a credit, but I don't say that it is a good year. It is a severe. But with the efforts being done by the Rekha Gupta government, we have come something on the dust mitigation. We have reduced it, but still more to be done. It is admitted, and I think with the recommendation of the expert committee, with all these good citizens, the things will be implemented in the near future, and we hope to clean it in 2 3 years. That is, I think we can do that. Yeah.
So you're basic. What about all the taxi drivers who come in? You did say that we can't worry about
Already.
livelihood also is a concern, but any
No,
way that the government intends to support them.
it is a valid question. Already for construction workers, the already government has announced rupees 10,000 that will go as DBT, and whoever will be affected from the taxi or driver, I think government will definitely think over this because government is very sensitive to the citizen of the Delhi.
Okay, you said 10,000
For construction workers, already government has announced
and the cab
yesterday.
drivers who lose out.
Uh, uh, I'm telling you, it has not been announced. It is not, but I think government is very sensitive to the citizen of the country.
Okay,
Delhi
all
will
right.
do something as been done to the construction workers.
Okay, so this rule comes into play tomorrow itself, 18th of December. So we're expecting to see how many lakh vehicles down on the roads.
I cannot comment on that if you are asking me.
Yeah,
Because
roughly.
I'm not an expert in that.
Okay. Let me bring in Akhil Guy. Akhil, tell us a little more about BS6 compliant vehicles. Also, now we're going to see, rough estimate we hear, nearly 2-3 lakh odd vehicles will go off the roads of Delhi. Is this the right solution, right way forward?
So primarily the basic difference between BS4 and BS6 is that uh, particles per meter is 10 when we talk about BS4 fuel, BS6. So emission is lesser. It has less ppm, that is only 10. But when we talk about BS4, it has 50 ppm. Permissible ppm is 50. So there is a significant difference in particulate matter, what you can say in terms of emission. But as I already said, that it is not the only reason for the pollution. As sir also was saying that it is more of a dust also, and we have been constructing since ages and ages, and it is not stopping. So we have to primarily also look at this matter, that we have to somewhere stop this construction of concrete around the Delhi, and we are expanding every day by kilometers, and we are constructing, unstoppably constructing, and that is what is increasing, because Delhi is surrounded by high rises, and massive construction is going on in the circumference of Delhi, and that is the reason that from wherever the pollution is coming, from wherever the air will come, it will bring in the particulate matter, and it will collect it in the city, and that will become the reason of and especially in this weather when we have a lot of moisture in the
So then
air.
in your view and expertise, what's the solution?
See, the solution will be definite. It is one part is that yes, of course, we have to stop or limit the vehicular movement by limiting B4 vehicles, and probably stopping commercial vehicles to enter in Delhi if they are not required in Delhi. They have to take bypass. But we also have to look at the other sides also, that, as I said, we have to bring in some limit to construction also, and there has to be certain standard of doing construction, that it has to be covered from all the sides, so that the particulate matter is not scattered in when we go on the streets. You can find sand lying on the streets, on the construction zones. So we have to do, not just by stopping the vehicle, it will not stop.
Bhavreen, can you hear me?
Yeah. Somehow the
I'm
sound is
not
just
able to listen to you.
going and coming. Sorry. So I can I just add,
Yeah.
Nabila, because we're talking about vehicles, and so that means we're concentrating on PM 2.5. So as of today, I'll tell you that we have at least between we're a small group of citizens. It's not like we're hundreds and millions, but I have more than about 30 complaints, industrial pollution coming from various, and not only Delhi, the outskirts of Delhi, the borders, the in Gurugram, from Tikri they're burning plastics, from Bahadurgarh. So we have to understand that this is a very big, no, every source of pollution will have to be worked on. Every source, you cannot compare. And this debate of which is more and less, I think that needs to go out. It's waste of time, and we are just sometimes I feel it's strategic to make citizens and people only keep discussing this, because we are in the most polluted capital of the world, and every source of pollution must be worked on. And so that means somehow we are not looking at the industrial. There are complaints that are repeated every day, every week. There are threads for years of the same complaint, of which a same family is complaining, or a individual is complaining, and they don't get corrected,
Yeah.
rectified.
No, just
There are
a little clarification that people have is on the NCR region definition. So, so the BS6 and below will not be allowed inside Delhi NCR region. So, does that also mean vehicles coming in from Noida and Gurgaon are also out if they aren't BS6 compliant? Dr. Anil, would you have an idea?
I think the whatever Honorable Minister has told is for Delhi entry and exit from Delhi. Delhi points, I mean the petrol pumps in Delhi, they will not get the fuels, and entry into Delhi, that is what the Honorable Minister has mentioned.
So basically, both entry points coming from Gurgaon side and Noida side, it will limit vehicles that are not BS6 compliant.
See, Nabila, just in one day, the discussion has shifted. Last day we were discussing about the source and everything. Now we are discussing why these measures are taken. I think, as uh, Madam has told, we have to work on all the sources. It is a fact, be it vehicle, be it industry, be it dust, be it roads, whatever that may be. And government is taking, because for last 2-3 days the AQI is in severe conditions. And one more thing, in AQI 8 parameters are there. Now it has been identified that the major culprit is PM 2.5 and 10. The 6 parameters are within control round the year. So now particular matter is the main issue.
Yeah.
And the source of that is find out. Now we have to take measures.
Okay.
Already I
So
mentioned that
you've
an
taken
expert
your
committee.
measures. We're going to see how impactful it will be on the ground. I suppose that BS6 and below compliant vehicles, even from Noida and Gurgaon, are not going to be entertained. And I also will surely stress that the government is also going to go by year to see how far this will help pollution levels to be brought down, and then decide how long they want to prolong this compliance norm. The GRAP 4, GRAP 5 decision that's been implemented, that includes not just at this point BS6 vehicles only, but also 50% work from home and no construction activity. So harsh decision that the government has taken, even though business will face a lot of losses, but this is about time that Delhi air and people's health becomes priority. Thanks very much all of you for joining us with that.